Welcome back to Fog Entertainment. We're back with another episode of Outer Banks. It is the second last episode of season 3, and it is called Welcome to Kitty Hawk. Of course, last time out the episode ended with the whole house on fire and who's going to die, who's going to survive. I made the prediction that nobody's going to die, and I said if someone did die for this fire, I'd eat a tin of paint. Guess what? There'll be no tins of paint getting ate in this review because we don't even like they don't even like capitalize on like the tension of that. We just kick off. It's the next morning, and all the pogues are just sitting outside the house looking at it as like the final bits burn, which just to me seems absolutely ridiculous that they didn't do anything there. But the group are then right. We'll meet up in an hour or two at the airstrip, and we'll fly away to South America. So Pope and Cleo go to basically talk to his parents. Basically, he says it's going to be the last time he ever does something like this. You know, he needs to get this whole situation sorted out with Denmark. He cannot rest until he does it. And it's just a bit stupid all this though, because like how many times have these kids, these pogues, repeated the same thing to their parents? But this is the last. I know it's more Pope and Key, right? But it's getting old, right? It's seriously getting old. But they eventually let them go. I mean, how about they just accept it here? We're all adults here and we have to provide for ourselves. And like, why can't they have their own fucking houses and shit? Instead of having to cry back to their parents. It's a bit embarrassing that way, like personally. But anyway, I digress. Kiara goes to her parents, and there's like this weird guy following her, and it turns out that her parents are not happy. And after think long thought, they decided to send her to a wilderness camp, and it's called Kitty Hawk. This just seems weird, right? So it's this place called Kitty Hawk, and all these girls and boys are segregated, like of course, are not allowed contact with the outside world for 6 weeks. Like, what sort of summer camp is this? I mean, I get, like, they're about 17, 18 in this show. Surely this is like, kids have rights these days, man. Yeah, this seems like it's out of like 1960, not like 2020 odds, even though I think this show was more set a few years ago, like personally, but to me, it's just ridiculous this even happens. JJ, they all return to the airstrip, and JJ's like, shit, I've got to go get Kiara. And then he goes to her house, and her mum and dad basically just start slabbering at him. And then he heads off to Kitty Hawk, and we'll see where that goes. But he actually gets interrupted by Baruda, and he basically talks his way into a sweet deal with that Baruda guy, saying that, here, we've got gold. If you help me with this, I'll give you a cut. I wouldn't bet too much money on this personally. Rafe starts panicking about Ward. He doesn't want him to die. No, he talks to Ward, and then Ward's like, "What have you done, Rafe?" And Rafe's like, "You gotta get out of here, man. I'm warning you." And then he goes to Barry. Barry says, "Here, I'm not doing it myself." He's like, "I found the guy," and then he's like, "It's a contract." Rafe is told by Barry that he's basically a contractor, and it's not going to be good here for Big Ward. Ward's then like cutting a salmon or something, a fish, a trout. He slices his finger and he puts it under the tap, and then some guy tries to kill Ward. Rafe comes in and then just batters him. And then, so you're thinking, right, after a wee leg wound here for Ward, everything's going to be alright. But then this guy comes past on like a paddle boat, and he's like, "Ward Cameron, is that you?" So yeah, the cops know that Ward is back, which guess ain't really that good. And then we've got the airstrip like finale. Basically, Rafe brings Ward there. Then we cut back to JJ. He breaks into the camp. Some funny scenes here about a cat called Marley. Is it called Bob? By any chance, brother, testify. He breaks into like the girls' like sleeping area, which I thought was funny. He's like, because he wronged his cousin earlier in the episode as about being a perv, and obviously this is like pretty pervy. But then him and Key embrace. She's like, "I love you," and he's like, "I'm sorry." And then yeah, we get like a round of applause and clapping inside this like sleeping accommodation, whatever you call it. I'm not really 100% sure, but like I said, back to the airstrip. Rafe has brought Ward there. Ward and John B kind of a bit of a stir down, but the camp Sarah's like, "Well, John B, you've a decision. You get on board this flight, or you find your own way doing." Um, and the funny thing is, like, if he didn't get on this flight, he could have just met up with JJ and went in that way. But of course, he didn't know that, I guess. So, yeah, because JJ and Kiara are going to get down to South America via Baruda. He's a pot. I could see him dying in the rally, big Baruda. Um, but here, Rafe basically warns John B that if anything happens to Ward, he will fucking hunt him down and kill him. Fair enough. And then Ward's like, for anything that matters, John B, I'm glad your dad's still alive. And the episode ends, and it's kind of like, it has set up a finale, but I just feel like the last like 6 episodes have been like so filler. It's just been back in, you know, like the OBX, whatever the fuck it's called. And it's yeah, like what's going on? Like, it seems like they're going to have to cram so much here in this final episode. We also had like a scene with John being Carlos that lasted about 23 seconds, so there wasn't an awful lot there. But if I was to make death predictions, I don't think any of the Pogues are going to die. I'm going to guess. I'm going to go with Ward, Carlos, and Barcuda. Those three are going to die. I could be wrong, but I feel like Ward is going to have like a redemption arc, but he might end up getting killed by Big John or something. I have no idea what happens, troops. I don't read spoilers. But yeah, I'm interested to see how it's going to go down in season 3 finale. But until then, I'm going to give this episode a 6 out of 10.